When you say persons with a capacity for pregnancy, do you mean women? And do you know, she looked at me, you would have thought I had just uttered the most unbelievable profanities. She looked at me and she drew herself to her full height. And I'll tell you, my mother was a school teacher, so I know that look. And I half expected she'd use my full name. Do you know what I mean? She's gonna say Joshua David. So she draws herself up and she says to me, Senator Hawley, I would just like to point out the transphobic nature of your question. Absolutely. You can Google this, it's on YouTube.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning?
Because,
so we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you're denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
And I said, now wait a minute. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that, but I was pretty sure she was calling me a bigot. So I said, are you calling me a bigot because I'm asking you if women get pregnant? And she said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, sure, go ahead. She said, do you think men can get pregnant? For a second, I thought she was kidding. She was not kidding at all. She's dead serious. And I looked at her and I said, no, I don't think men can get pregnant. And she said, see, you're transphobic. And I said, see, you're insane. I mean, this is nuts. Listen, there are not 20 genders. There are not 200 genders. There are 2, male and female. The way that God made you is good. It's good. You didn't make a mistake. And we should not be telling our children that there's something wrong with them. I don't want my little girl who's 3 years old told by some bureaucrat anywhere that there's something wrong with her, that she should be a boy, that she should take drugs to make her a boy. Absolutely not. No way, no how. And to use our tax dollars to do it is even worse. This is what they're trying to do, however. This is what they're trying to do. And that brings me to the ballot initiative that we're facing here in the state of Missouri, Amendment 3. This is one of the most radical pieces of legislation that would alter our Constitution forever in the state of Missouri. You talk about taking the inheritance of our fathers. Let's just talk about for a second what's on this ballot initiative, because they're not being honest with you about what's on it. They're not being honest with you about what it contains. And they're not being honest with you about what it would do. This ballot initiative would change the Missouri Constitution. It's not a law, it's constitutional. It would change the Missouri Constitution to mandate taxpayer-funded abortion on demand all 9 months of pregnancy. Taxpayer-funded. Now listen, we've had a lot of disagreement over abortion in this country for a long time. One thing we've always agreed on, all 50 states in the United States, all the way to the United States Congress, is we're not going to use taxpayer money to fund abortions. Well, they would do it now. This would mandate it in our Constitution. Taxpayer-funded abortion all 9 months. No parental notification for minors, let alone parental consent. But I tell you, it's not just about abortion. This amendment, supposedly about women's rights, never uses the word woman. Read it. Never uses the word woman. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because the amendment explicitly says it's not limited to abortion. It says it will constitute and will mandate constitutionally all reproductive health services, and that includes transgender treatments for minors. We're talking about transgender surgeries, we're talking about hormone treatments, we're talking about puberty blockers. It will be written into the Missouri Constitution, and any doctor who performs these surgeries, who performs these treatments without parental notification, without parental consent, will be immunized and protected by this amendment. We've seen this happen in this state. At Washington University, right here in this state, in the city of St. Louis, we had a clinic, a so-called gender clinic, that was performing these surgeries on minors because of brave whistleblowers who came forward. These people, by the way, were not Republicans, not conservatives at all, but they just didn't want women to be victimized, children to be victimized. Brave whistleblowers came forward and said, this clinic is performing these surgeries. They're not even notifying the parents. They're not even telling the kids about the long-term effects, which are what? Sterilization for life.